Hello and welcome to Just a Moment. My name is Kristin Harding. Welcome to the show. Today I have an idea about finishing up a couple chapters of The Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. Again, The Bringers of the Dawn, to sum it up, is a wonderful little message from the Pleiadian people that she was able to get information from and channel. And it's a positive message. And if anyone remembers, my show is generally about being positive. So I'd like to just share this with you because we're actually on chapter 17 already, and it is titled The Language of Light. And being that we're in the beginning of the year and the days are getting longer, and hopefully people are experiencing a little more hope in this world, I think it's a perfect message for now. So, chapter 17, The Language of Light. The avatars and masters have now permeated the gridwork of the world, bringing with them their own tools for teaching. The tools that are being utilized on this planet are artifacts that are not of your dimension, symbolic forms that are literally having a life of their own. They make up what is known as the language of light. You are implanted with a structure, a geometric form, which triggers certain information within you. It also facilitates, for those who work with you, the sending of information directly into your being. The large majority of you are implanted, and if you are not now, shortly you will be if you choose to open and align yourself. No one is implanted who does not choose it. This structure of the language of light is a way of receiving information and energy to facilitate your development. It is a method of learning without doing it through books or through the intellect. It involves opening to the belief that there is indeed a hierarchy, immense beyond your comprehension, that has been working with humanity since the very beginning. This hierarchy works with love, cherishes who you are, and has been able to see through the time mechanisms that are keyed into the planet to know that consciousness is ready for the evolutionary leap. There are 144,000 members of the spiritual hierarchy who are infused with the gridwork of this planet at this time. Each master has its own seal that represents one portion of that language of light. And you have 144,000 seals of energy that will eventually be infused within your being. To start with, you will work with the 12 forms that the body will be able to hold. Much later, once the transformation has occurred, there will be an infusion of the entire 144,000 symbolic language structures through your being. That will be an unfoldment that cannot even be explained in this lifetime. This mutation is a process unfolding within you that will allow you to move into another realm of experience. Each person on the planet has the potential to move through this mutation. Many will stop the process because they do not have the desire to align themselves with higher consciousness. When you are aware of who you are, that is one thing. When you become aware of the divine consciousness that seeds this planet, an intellect that is vast, loving, and works with you, and when you call to that consciousness and ask to be a portion of it, that is when you are implanted with geometric forms. The forms that are implanted come in a variety of shapes, such as the pyramid structure. Why is the pyramid so important? On this planet and throughout the cosmos, The pyramid structure is utilized to represent a great unity of consciousness. It is the structure that is most difficult to create in all of its many facets, and yet it is a structure of perfection. It is a structure that gathers energy from the earth and sends it outward. The structures of the sphere and the spiral will also be implanted inside of you. The spiral is very dear to many of you because you have sojourned within cultures and societies where the spiral was utilized to communicate many ideas. There will be also implanted the structures of the parallel lines and the cube. And of course, there will be the structure of the Merkaba vehicle, which is the five-sided figure. The five-sided figure represents the figure of human being that is in its most unlimited state, the totally free human. Some of you know it as a symbolic structure called the Merkaba. Let's try that again. Merkaba vehicle. It is a human design without any limitations. It is the human being able to fly, which is something that a large majority of you do not think that you can do. This implant comes when you truly commit yourself to what was formerly not possible. Which implant or geometric form will be implanted inside you will depend first of all on your request for alignment. It will also depend on your belief that these entities choose to be available to you if you choose to be available for them. As you begin to unfold and allow what are called miracles or magnificent events to manifest in your life, they will begin. Many of you will start with the implant of the circle because it represents God form, unity, and completeness. Some of you will select the pyramid structure to be implanted since you have had many lifetimes with discovered and still undiscovered pyramids all over the planet. You think your geography is known, but there are many things still undiscovered because they are slipping from one reality to another. Deep within jungles, there are many buried pyramids, often lying buried beneath mounds of earth. There are still many wonders to uncover. Those of you who are willing to believe that there are truly no limitations will be able to see the Merkaba structure and move yourself off the planet with it while you are still living on the planet. The desire to do this must exist in you if you are to be implanted with the Merkaba. Already, some of you have attempted to travel with it, and you know how it can be used in your being. When you truly call the Merkaba to yourself and you are willing to get the feeling of what that truly means, to be unlimited consciousness that travels with your body without your body leaving the planet. That is what when implanting will occur. The Merkaba is not the highest implanting, as there are no highest or lowest implantings. Implantings come when it will best suit your personal development. Once you have become implanted, there will be an unending process of new forms coming into your being. You do not consciously choose the form that will be implanted in you. However, you choose the life you have, which opens you to the structures of the language of light. You choose what is important to you each day. That is your access to these forms. Through this marriage of energies, eventually you will all hold the alphabet of light inside your beings, and this alphabet of light will teach you. If you have dreamt of geometric forms, it is an indication that the forms are working within you. Or perhaps you love studying geometry in school. If you wish to know what you have been implanted with, see which forms continuously come first or are larger than others. There are many shapes that do not even have names. There will be shapes that you know and recognize that later will take new forms and new shapes that your consciousness cannot translate. Sip of coffee. The spiral is one of the basic forms of the language of light. It is a bridge, a teaching unto itself. The form of it is coded with information, and when you ride the spiral, it is seemingly non-ending. This shows you that the journey into yourself is non-ending, and that the journey outside of yourself is non-ending. You are a species. You will be able to split your consciousness and go in both directions so that consciousness can be connected. By taking the non-ending journey within and the non-ending journey without, you link yourselves up in a connected spiral in which there is a universal truth. We have said, what have we said? We have said that the cells in your body contain the entire history of this universe. Ideally, you will come to realize the existence of this golden library within yourselves during this lifetime and learn how to read what is there. Taking the spiral within is one part of the journey. The trick is to both go within and go without, and then to realize that they are the same. The spiral exists in many dimensions. When you visualize the spiral, you will feel that you have known it, yet at first you are only knowing one aspect of it. When you begin to grow with the spiral, you will realize that it has so many dimensions that you could spend the rest of eternity, to use your term, exploring it. It grows. The spiral is the key to tapping into what is inside of you. Your DNA is in the form of a spiral. Spirals are all around you, and the language of light rides upon the light-encoded filaments that also descend in a spiral form. This is something that is experimental, and it will grow for you. In your meditation, feel yourself riding a spiral like you would ride a tornado. Visualize yourself seeing a spiral approaching that is like a tornado. Then, instead of running from it, stand there and feel yourself whirled up inside of it. Ride it, for it is a doorway to other realities. These languages of light, geometrical shapes and forms, are collections of experiences of individuals who have incarnated on this planet, defied the human laws, awakened themselves to high abilities, and then manifested themselves as language and geometric components. Once these energies existed as man and women on this planet, they have evolved themselves into geometric symbols, and they exist in their sphere of activity just like you exist in your body. These entities exist in a language system or a geometric system. Hello, Christopher. He says, yep, Merkaba discussion. It contains a lot of data. It can take any shape, indeed. Plasma intelligence, DNA, advanced electrical engineering, all these follow spirals and history cycles. Huh, spirals, years maybe, and history cycles. Okay, I agree. There are universes of these systems, excuse me, and there are visitations into your own universe from those universes at this time. There are circles and other shapes being put upon this planet in the grain fields that are inexplicable as far as you are concerned. These imprints are a frequency, not a process or an action. There is a song or a story or language that is being implanted on the surface of Earth with language symbols. These symbols come to establish a certain frequency, and they are going to increase. Eventually, some of you will build houses that are geometric shapes that are not simply squares or rectangles. Many of them, dwelling in the Pleiades, do not have shapes as you know them, and it is understood that shapes and angles hold energy. In astrology, it is understood that certain angles have power points and that certain things happen with certain angles. It is the same with shapes. The Great Pyramid is all about the use of angles and shapes. Energy collects in angles and shapes and in forms. You can learn to create these shapes and live in and around them. Energies are formed and transmitted in this way. You will discover that certain degrees have certain powers and that some angles are very uncomfortable for you to be in. It is sometimes better to sleep in the middle of a room rather than having your bed jammed up into a 90-degree angle because, why? Because the 90-degree angle creates an energy lock. In the middle of the room, the energy flows around you. The third dimensional reality, many portals, are now being opened to bring about evolution upon Earth. At one time, the planet was sealed off and put in quarantine because there were forces that fought here. There have been incredible wars upon this planet, and some of the vestiges of these wars still exist in very barren areas upon this planet. This was the time of chaos and confusion when creator gods fought creator gods. During the most recent wave of the wars, about 10 or 12,000 years ago, Earth was sealed off because those beings who operated with light lost the battle. Light does not always win. Light is not always the victor, as you think of a victor. For light must learn to integrate with all portions of itself. Prime Creator is within all things, and light and dark are part of the Creator. Therefore, light must incorporate with the dark portion of itself. Time has orchestrated and brought events together. A number of cycles were set to pass since the last wars, after which time the energy portals into the planet would again be opened so that light could enter. This is that time period. Light is now being orchestrated to once again come onto the planet, and it is increasing daily. In order for energy to work its way through your consciousness, it must house itself on the planet. Intelligence penetrates in the form of waves, making geometric shapes on the Earth. It is not that a spaceship comes down, makes crop circles in the night, and then takes off, although some circles have been caused by ship landings. Intelligence can take the guise of any form it wants, and very often intelligence comes in the form of a wave. A time will come where there will actually be a wave of light that sweeps the earth. Intelligence is beyond the spoken word and beyond the written word, for it is the frequency that sometimes comes into geometric shapes. Pythagoras had a beginning grasp of this, but his geometry was not understood by others. Geometry is an evolved intelligence, a collection of experience that can communicate huge amounts of information. Actually, crop circles all over the planet are put there by sounds above human frequency to implement these language shapes. That's cool. Many times in the beginning, these shapes are circles. They will evolve into triangles, lines, and many other things. The crop circles have been most prevalent in England and throughout Europe. However, they are also in the area previously known as the Soviet Union and in South America. They are even in the United States, although some people are doing a good job of pretending that they are not there. We understand that some of your news broadcasters are planning upcoming shows about these crop circles. We will see how much they pretend they don't know about them. It is going to be interesting. These geometric shapes are like hieroglyphics. The hieroglyphs and the pictographs carved in the stone on this planet were similar generation of intelligence. In other words, if one were to read the hieroglyphs based on the Rosetta Stone, the hieroglyphs would communicate one thing. If one were able to remember the secret language of the priests, the hieroglyphs would tell another story. They would say something entirely different. The circles and shapes being put on Earth are here to assist you in holding and managing your frequency and having the courage to live your light. They make frequency information available in a very subtle way, and no one can figure them out yet. These shapes are all connected to one another, and if they were all written out simultaneously on some farmer's field, something would happen to them immediately. They are spaced from one continent to another, and they move a frequency band around the planet that will help activate Earth's grid work. They will allow you not to feel so weird with what you know and to feel more comfortable and with the changes in frequency as they occur. This is just a little bit of what the crop circles do. They are quite interesting. Many of them are designed and constructed by what some call the Ascended Masters. There is also a joke behind them. You must understand that some beings, as they become very evolved, develop a tremendous sense of humor. They see humor in all things. As we have said, geometric shapes and forms are carriers of intelligence. They are frequency waves that can be modulated and changed. The shapes coming into Earth are like energy gates or energy glyphs. They hold intelligence and are being set up to eventually connect and make an intelligent grid work around the planet. This grid work will have a frequency that humanity can use to evolve. The whole language is not on the planet at this time. The glyphs come onto Earth as a result of a certain evolvement of consciousness. They work with places that are vortex centers that are now drawing them in. Over the billions of years that Earth has been in orbit, these centers have been covered over and buried. Some of them have gone into dormancy, and many of them are being reawakened because the seal around the planet has been penetrated. The crop circles are, oh, this is a big word, phenomenal, phenomenological. Whoa, that's a big one. Expressions of consciousness. They come into your reality to show you that the reasoning mind cannot control all of the data as much as it would like to. These events, I have hissing cats, that's just too funny. Goodbye, children. All right, let's see. Continues to evolve. The whole language is not on the planet at this time. The glyphs come into the earth as a result of certain evolvement of the consciousness. They work with places that are vortex centers that are now drawing them in. Over the billions of years that the earth has been in orbit, these centers have been covered over and buried. Okay, we already read that. There are a number of reasons for the existence of the crop circles. Basically, they exist to force reality to move, to get you feeling rather than thinking. Most who explore these circles think their way through the circles rather than feel their way through them. Great Britain is having a rash of them because, in general, the British have a very logically oriented consciousness. However, the land of the British Isles is imprinted with megalithic spirals and stone forms that have intensely imprinted the intuitive faculties of the inhabitants. This phenomenon has no logic to it. It is forcing a logically oriented society to recognize something that makes no sense. And it is being done in a very playful and obvious way without creating a threat to anyone's view of reality. If ships were to land everywhere, people would get upset. When corn lies down in a concentric circle and doesn't even break or die, no one really gets too upset. Do you understand how energies play with you? It is necessary to do certain things so that you can get it and figure it out without having your circuits overloaded. This language is being introduced onto the planet as a story, a glyph of information that holds a frequency to assist you in holding your own frequency. As you awaken, it is easy for others to read you and recognize you. You are monitored all of the time because there are devices that monitor the evolution and location of consciousness. Once consciousness has reached a certain place, assistance is brought from the outside to establish other realms of that frequency. In other words, say you open a restaurant and it's a big hit. You run and maintain it and sell really good food. Then someone comes along and says, "Hey, how about franchising? Let's get you everywhere." These geometric shapes help you franchise the frequency by spreading it all over the planet and holding it. They bring you to a new level of attainment. And I do believe it is time for the break, so we're going to be back in about 4 minutes.
Welcome to Crystal Cove and Mystic Charms, where magic meets the mundane and the extraordinary becomes everyday. Are you ready to gift yourself with the whispers of ancient power stones? To the feel and hear the echoes of our ancient past? Dive into a world where each pendant tells a story, where rare stones hold secrets known only to the universe itself. At Crystal Cove, our collection isn't just jewelry. It's a gateway to a realm of mysticism and wonder. Let the shimmering opal guide you through twilight dreams, or embrace the fiery energy of the sun with our exquisite amber pendants. Each piece, handcrafted by the hands of a true mystic who understand the language of the earth and the fire of one's heart. At Crystal Cove and Mystic Charms, we believe that every soul deserves to sparkle. Whether you seek solace in the calming embrace of amethyst or wish to dance with the vibrant hues of turquoise, our collection holds the key to unlocking your inner magic if you allow it to be so. Visit us today and discover the pendant that speaks to your soul. Crystal Cove and Mystic Charms, where the beauty of our amazing earthy realm meets the magic of the cosmos.
Hey there, Hunter. Go check out our friends at Colorado Custom Game Calls. They are all about creating a high-quality, custom, unique game calls at an affordable price. They are here for hunters that can't and won't pay upwards of $180 to $200 per game call. They pride themselves on giving their customers the opportunity to not only purchase an affordable and high-quality call, but to customize their game call to their liking. So listen up and go check them out. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. They got calls for all type of game, and all the game calls can be custom made to your own likeness. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. Tell them Matthew sent you from the Matrix Minds.
What is is up, all my beautiful and gorgeous souls? I am Michelle Espinosa, otherwise known as the Shaman, through the Matrix Mind Media. So tell me, how many times have you wished that you had that special power of prediction? You know, to know what was going to happen before it actually happened and took place. To have some power and control over that situation before things came flying at you out of left field. The thing is, you actually can have that power. You can be aware of what's coming. Tune in to Astrology TV with me for Breaking the Cage every Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Matrix Mind Media. And I will go through the astrology and help put you on the right course and get you back in control of your own life. Love you guys.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. The CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.
And we are back. This is Just a Moment, and I am Kristin Harding. I am reading from the book called The Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak, and we are on chapter 18. So just join me, shut your eyes, listen for a while. Not much to see, just a lot to hear, a lot to process. And thank you for joining us. Chapter 18 is called The Symphonies of Consciousness. Light informs you, it uplifts you, because once you are informed, you will feel more powerful. When you are not informed, you feel powerless. Sound is another way to carry information because it is part of light. To you, it may seem that sound and light are two separate things, because from your point of view, you perceive light with your eyes and sound with your ears. Because you use two separate areas of perception on your body, it seems that sound and light are separated as well. In actuality, they are very connected. They wind themselves around one another because they both carry information. Many of the structures built on this planet, particularly ancient sacred sites, have information stored within stone. In the same way, you have information stored within the bones of your skeletal form. When you allow sound to move through you, it unlocks a doorway and allows information to flood through your body. It also penetrates the ground, affecting the vibrations of Earth and allowing a rearrangement of the molecular alignment of information to take place. Those of you who use sound when you are working on others' bodies bring a rearrangement of the molecular structure and create an opening for information to flood in. This kind of work will become more and more profound. In Tibet, when a master who is able to transcend realities passed over, the body was kept and allowed to move into its own natural deterioration because the skeletal form held a sensibility to the frequencies. Information is stored in bone and stone. In some places in Tibet, where the lines of continuity in sects of monks can be traced back for thousands and thousands of years, people have kept the skulls of different masters. They have very secret crypts and rooms filled with these skulls. When one walks into these places, one can, through sound, access the intelligence factors of the humans who once occupied these skulls. Do you understand why crystal skulls were designed? Crystalline structures are like holographic computers. They can transmit to the evolved or plugged in human a tremendous amount of information. They are designed like skulls to act as a code for understanding your own skull and understanding that the bone in your body is very valuable. Sound is a tool for transformation. Keepers of frequency, which is what we are encouraging you to become, learn how to modulate the frequency that holds through sound. Sound can penetrate any substance, move molecules, and rearrange realities. In ancient Egypt, the Ankh, or symbol that represented life, in actuality was a frequency modulator. It was utilized by individuals who were masters of keeping frequencies and able to do things with those frequencies. The Ankh is similar to a tuning fork and can direct sound. That is how it is used a long time ago. Before you will be able to experience using sound in the manner of the ancient Egyptians, you will have to demonstrate your integrity. You will have to pass an initiation or a testing to see whether you can be trusted with this kind of power. So sorry, you guys. You know what I had to do? I had to break up a cat fight. Yeah, energy. What can I say? Oh, goodness. In ancient Egypt, yep, we went there. The Ankh is similar to a tuning fork and can direct sound. That is how it was used a long time ago. Before you will be able to experience using sound in the manner of the ancient Egyptians, you will have to demonstrate your integrity. You will have to pass an initiation or a testing to see whether you can be trusted with this kind of power. This planet is not ripe for this kind of energy simply to be thrust into anyone's hands. If you were capable of this work at this time, your life would not be safe because there would be too many who would want to misuse your gift. You will be given the abilities when you can mature into them. You can begin to work with sound by allowing it to play your body. Get yourself centered, clear your mind, and allow the tones to come through you. The ancient mystery schools worked with sound in this manner, and it is a very powerful technique when done in a group. Many years down the road, but within this decade, you will amaze yourself with what you will perceive as the results of your cooperative sounds or symphonies of consciousness playing themselves. When you tone together, you will be shown what you can do without even knowing that you can do it. You will learn how to use and cultivate this kind of energy to make your own ankh. When you buy a child clay, the child at first doesn't know how to make many things, so you may make a few little shapes, like little balls or spaghettis for the child so that he or she can see the potential within the clay. Then the child, after playing with the clay for a while, discovers his or her own sense of creativity within form. The creative form of sound is shown to you first as potential. You are led and orchestrated through the use of this sound. Eventually, you will discover on your own some of the things that sound can achieve. When you will, when then you will become more daring and you will learn what sound can create. Energies are introduced this way to make certain there is not a misuse of them, and that you don't overextend yourself or overdo out of enthusiasm. You will go very far with your use of sound after working with it for a while. It is like a powerful tool being given to an infant. Without proper awareness, you could do things and not realize the ramifications of what you are doing. Think about what sound does in stadiums and auditoriums. The cheering or the booing of a crowd creates an ambiance. When groups of you make sound together, you create an ambiance for yourselves. You allow certain energies to play the instruments of your bodies. You let go of preconceived ideas and allow different melodies and energies to use your physical bodies as opportunities to represent themselves on the planet. In actuality, what you excuse me, what you experience is the life force of energies that you allow to express through your own selves. You become channels. Just as our vehicle allows us to come into your reality through her body, you allow a vibration to come onto the planet in its full glory throughout your bodies and your joint cooperation. You birth something, you create an opportunity, and an energy takes advantage of that opportunity. Emotion, because it brings feeling and connects you to the feeling, allows you to recognize different states of consciousness. The logical mind does not allow you to recognize states of consciousness because it holds its own free identity. It is locked into the boundary of ego and does not want to recognize other areas. Feeling, however, always acknowledges other areas because feelings discern the difference. You can read the signs and the definitions by the energy that you call feeling. It is, in actuality, a vibration. Sound brings about states of emotional feeling. When you create harmonics of sound, it reminds your body of something. It reminds your body of light, of deep cosmic love, and of other worlds. Your body comes into joy and sometimes, overwhelmingly, into sadness. It seeks and accesses a frequency that it has been longing for, which the sound reminded it of. As you allow sound to play your body, you discover a frequency that you have sought. This frequency is connected to the evolution of the helixes within your body. Sound is a vehicle or a conduit to connect you to the higher chakras outside of your body because you do not have a way of accessing them logically. You must access all frequencies and chakra centers by feeling, and sound will connect you with the feeling, which will allow you to understand the information. If sound could be pictured, some of you would become entranced with watching it. There are realities where sound does picture itself. You feel the movement and the language of sound when you wave your body or move your hands. You experience the richness of this form of communication and how multidimensional all things are by feeling sound express itself. It has its own language. It has a form. Sound carries a frequency and the body recognizes the frequency. The body is keyed to respond to the acceptability of the frequency. The great master musicians such as Beethoven and Mozart were coded to bring in information of a stable nature, for they received the harmonics of sound at the time when there was great darkness over the planet. In order to keep a certain remembrance open in the minds of the human race, lower vibratories rates of sound were translated into the minds of those masters. Sound is going to evolve. Now human beings can become the instruments for sound through toning. Human beings can become the flute, the piano, the harp, the oboe, and the tuba. They allow energies to use their physical bodies to make a variety of sounds that they do not direct or attempt to control the range of. Spirit plays, and human beings simply observe the attendance of the symphony that they and all the others are performing. It is quite profound. These harmonics can be utilized in incredible ways, for harmonics can evolve many things. One of the things that is important for utilizing these harmonics is to be very silent once the harmonics are complete. The harmonics alter something. They open the door. Certain combinations of sounds played through the human body unlock information and frequencies of intelligence. Being silent for long period after the harmonics allows human beings to use their bodies as devices to receive and absorb the frequencies and to use the vehicle of breathing to take them into an ecstatic state. When you tone with others, you have access to the group mind that you did not have prior to making the sound. It is a gigantic leap in consciousness. The key word is harmony. When the entire planet can create a harmonic of thought, the entire planet will change. That is what we are working for. You are going to broadcast a frequency, and that sound is going to travel. It is going to become a desperate aching and a longing for the return to harmonics within the human race, a return to the power of the group mind and the simultaneous empowerment of the individual. What you intend to do with sound is of the utmost importance. If you are not clear about your intentions, sound can have a way of enveloping upon itself and growing beyond its original capacity. It doubles and quadruples itself with its own impact. It is very important for you to have a clear intention of what you plan on doing with sound. That is number one. Number two is that sound stirs up energy. It creates a standing columnar wave, building frequency upon frequency. This energy can then be directed at or toward anything. You have heard about those who marched around the city of Jericho. They marched for days around Jericho and created a standing wave. The wave eventually built up so much energy that the city walls imploded. Native dance, rattling, shaking, and moving in circles creates the energy of this wave. When you make sound in a circle or in circumference of the pillar of light, you create a column that is capable of doing many more things than you ever realized. It is capable of creating explosions and of destroying and creating many realities. Among the war-oriented tribes, the war whoop was used by those who went into battle. The unified and intended invocation was to ask the non-physical forces to accompany them. The warriors would use this kind of sound to combat their opponents by allowing energy to move through a portal and create a standing column. When you hear a sound like a war whoop, you remember uncomfortable ways that the sound has been utilized because it is very powerful. It makes others uncomfortable because it reminds them of the responsibility of sound. Some of you are petrified of sound. You are petrified of the sound of your own voice speaking out and stating with clarity what you prefer. You have cellular memory of what sound can achieve, and the rather devastating impact or capability of what you can do with it is rather devastating. Sound can link you to places where your intellect cannot. Your intellect strives to categorize, but cannot categorize sound. You must simply experience it. Misuse happens through intent. You can discover the power of sound and then misuse it to manipulate others. What do you experience when you live in a city and hear sirens? Fear? That is a misuse of sound, and it is alerting your frequencies. It's a very base way to do so. Those who make the sound know the results of it on human psyche. It is jarring and disturbing and keeps you from placing your attention somewhere else. That frequency is like a lock. It is hypnotizing, and it captures your consciousness and your intelligence. It is as if your intelligence cannot focus any other place. It's almost like being in a prison, because the sound imprisons your awareness so that it becomes addicted to or locked into a vibratory rate and does not seek anything else. It becomes subdued. Think also of your television or the sound coming from other electrical devices. It's always upsetting to look at the different forms of frequency control and to see how powerful allies, such as sound, are used to control you. It creates a great deal of anger, unrest, havoc, and excitement in many human beings when they hear about the undercover devices used to manipulate consciousness. We share these things with you for many reasons. The ultimate purpose is to bring you to great self-empowerment. You must realize that you are not powerless in any situation and that your mind is the ultimate of your creativity. Your mind and your thoughts design your expression. I just lost my page. Your mind and your thoughts. There we go. Design your experience no matter what method of technology is being used. Those who act in their own reality with impeccable guidance, commitment to harmony, and commitment to light align themselves with their dimensional counterparts who are doing the same. You make bridges of light and hold light-encoded filaments as pillars and open portals. Those who are rewarded with the understanding that they are called to use sound as a part of their work and who recognize that call and respond to it will evolve at a rapid pace. Those of you evolving at this rate will be called one day to represent many people, to represent world gatherings of consciousness, and to change the available frequency with your sound. Oh my goodness, we are already at the end of the chapter. Let's see if I missed any comments here. Christopher Peebles says, what does he say? I'm a sonic wizard for modulating human being patterns through music because humans can't fight over sound. Well, some of your work is absolutely stunningly beautiful, Christopher, and I do detect a wee bit of light language in there. And Sarah Williams says, hello. Hello, Sarah. Well, I do believe we are at the end, so I will say that's all for now, dear lights. Thank you so much for joining us. Never forget that you are amazing. You are loved. Be well. Be safe out there. And I'll see you on the next show. Bye.